Mercedes Mone breaks AEW TBS title record. Mercedes Mone just broke Jade Cargill's record for longest reigning AEW TBS champion, and the irony is absolutely delicious. The woman who left WWE partly because she felt undervalued just surpassed the woman who WWE is currently pushing as one of their top stars. The CEO, the self-proclaimed belt collector, the woman who's been carrying AEW's women's division on her back for over 500 days, has officially made history. Welcome back to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, and today we're breaking down how Mercedes Mone became the longest reigning TBS champion of all time, what this record means for her legacy, why her reign has been both dominant and controversial, and what record she's chasing next as she continues to cement herself as one of the most successful women's champions in wrestling history. Let's start with the numbers because they tell a compelling story. On October 17, 2025, Mercedes Mone officially reached 509 days as AEW TBS champion, surpassing Jade Cargill's previous record of 508 days. One day. That's all it took to break the record. But that one day represents so much more than just a number on a stat sheet. It represents Mercedes proving that leaving WWE was the right decision. It represents her validating Tony Khan's investment in her as one of AEW's top stars. It represents her carrying a championship with consistency and excellence for over a year and a half. 509 days is not a short reign. That's a year and nearly 5 months of defending a championship, representing a brand, and being the face of AEW's women's division. Mercedes won the TBS championship at AEW Double or Nothing 2024 when she defeated Willow Nightingale in her debut match for the company. Let me repeat that. Her debut match. Mercedes Mone showed up in AEW and immediately won a championship in her first appearance. That's not the typical path for new signings. Usually, you work your way up, you have a few matches to establish yourself, you build credibility with the audience, and then you get your title shot. But Mercedes is not a typical signing. She came into AEW as one of the biggest free agents in wrestling. She had name recognition from her time as Sasha Banks in WWE. She had credibility from her incredible matches and championship reigns. So Tony Khan putting the TBS championship on her immediately was a statement. It was AEW saying, we know what we have, we're not wasting time, and we're building our women's division around this woman. And since that night at Double or Nothing, Mercedes has been almost perfect. Almost. Because there's one blemish on her record, and it's a significant one. At AEW All in Texas in July, Mercedes lost to Toni Storm. Timeless Toni Storm, in all her Hollywood Golden Age glory, defeated the CO and handed her the only loss of her AEW run so far. That loss is interesting because it shows that Mercedes isn't being booked as completely invincible. She can lose. She has lost. But she hasn't lost the championship. And that distinction matters. Losing a non-title match keeps you looking strong while also giving other wrestlers credibility. It's smart booking that protects everyone involved. But outside of that one loss, Mercedes has been dominant. She's defended the TBS championship 22 times. 22 successful defenses over 509 days. That's roughly one defense every 23 days, which is an incredibly active championship schedule. For context, some champions defend their titles once every couple of months. Mercedes has been out there consistently, week after week, putting her title on the line and coming out on top. That's the mark of a workhorse champion. That's someone who understands that championships are only as important as the defenses you have, and Mercedes has been giving the TBS championship the kind of attention and prestige it deserves. Now let's talk about the Jade Cargill connection because it adds a fascinating layer to this story. Jade Cargill was the inaugural AEW TBS champion. She held that title for 508 days and had an undefeated streak that made her one of the most protected wrestlers in the company. Jade was that girl. She was the dominant force who ran through everyone. She looked like $1,000,000. She had the it factor. And then she left AEW for WWE, where she's now on SmackDown teaming with Bianca Belair and being positioned as a future star. Jade's time in AEW was successful, but she clearly felt like WWE was where she needed to be to reach her full potential. Mercedes, on the other hand, left WWE to come to AEW. She was Sasha Banks, one of the 4 horsewomen, a multiple-time women's champion, someone who main event WrestleMania. But she felt like WWE wasn't giving her what she deserved. There were creative frustrations, contract disputes, and ultimately a decision to walk away from the biggest wrestling company in the world to see what else was out there. And what she found was AEW, where Tony Khan was more than willing to give her everything she wanted. A big contract, immediate championship opportunities, creative freedom, and the platform to be the centerpiece of the women's division. So now you have this beautiful symmetry. Jade left AEW for WWE and is thriving. Mercedes left WWE for AEW and is thriving. And Mercedes just broke Jade's record. It's like two ships passing in the night, each finding success in the place the other left behind. And both women can legitimately claim they made the right decision for their careers. There's no loser in this scenario. Both Jade and Mercedes are champions in their respective companies. Both are being pushed as top stars. Both are making more money and having more success than they were before they made their moves. That's rare in wrestling. Usually, when someone leaves a company, there's a sense of what could have been or they made a mistake. But not here. Both women won by following their instincts and going where they felt valued. Mercedes breaking Jade's record also raises an interesting question about legacy. Jade's 508-day reign is still remembered as legendary in AEW. She was undefeated. She destroyed everyone. She made the TBS Championship feel important when it was brand new. But Mercedes is now surpassing that reign, and she's doing it with a completely different style. Jade was all about power and dominance and making quick work of her opponents. Mercedes is more technical, more strategic, more about outsmarting and outworking her competition. She's proving that you don't need to be physically imposing to have a record-breaking championship reign. You just need to be excellent at your craft, and Mercedes is absolutely excellent. But Mercedes isn't done making history, because breaking the record for longest reign is just one milestone. She's also chasing Jade's record for most successful TBS Championship defenses. Jade ended her reign with 25 successful defenses before losing to Chris Statlander at Double or Nothing 2023. Mercedes currently has 22 successful defenses. That means she needs 3 more to tie Jade's record and 4 more to break it. Mercedes Mone would be the greatest TBS champion of all time by every measurable metric.